Good morning. It's Thursday. It's just about 7 o'clock. I started early. Sunrise was at 6:45 or 6:50, something like that. I was up before. I've already hit the trail. And my goal is to make it to Rodman's campground where my vehicle is. So I figure I got about just under 10 miles to do. I'm hoping to get there before noon now. Much better than my 3 o'clock arrival. And then I have several hours of driving to go meet my family. So, uneventful night. Temperatures were a little bit warmer than the day before. It was a little bit breezy where I stayed though, so I had not really a breeze coming through, but every once in a while you would feel, a puff of air come through. And then, the tent would feel a little cooler. Additionally, no condensation, that's the best thing. So only the bottom of the tent from the ground is wet, so that means minimal maintenance for me when I get home. Or to wherever I'm going next, because I'm not going home yet. And other than that, I spent the night by myself. It's been a while. It feels weird at first, and then you just get in the routine. It's no different than another time. I'm reflecting. Hard to shut the mind off when you're by yourself and there's no other input. I was reflecting the trip, and when I first started, and I always feel the same way, you always start walking, you're like, why am I out here? Oh, I'm so out of shape. I should have worked out more or gotten better shape. And then, that's the first day usually. By the second or third day, I'm usually feeling, much better. Obviously, I'm not up in the mountains. If I was up in Georgia or anywhere where there's mountains that I'm used to, in North Carolina or something like that, it would have been a hard day every day. So I'm not saying that. This is relatively flat. There was one actually climb yesterday that probably was over 100 feet, which, is probably the highest climb I've had to do at one time. And, I was winded. There's no doubt about it. I'm out of shape. So something to aim for in the future. Got to get to the training, get to the gym, or I don't know what I'm gonna do, probably the treadmill more vigorously. So, but other than that, this is a pretty easy, gentle trail. There are some parts that are, a little hard. There's a couple of trees that have fallen down with storms coming through, I'm assuming. And, you got to pick your way through them or actually step over, logs and trunks. But there's nothing here that would stop anyone in any reasonable shape from walking, and you can do a section of this trail. You don't have to do the whole thing, obviously. And the good things are, yeah, I'll edit that out. The good thing is that there are campgrounds more or less, throughout the park. So you can just pick an easy section and do a hike from one campground to another. And if you're only doing a day hike, maybe even do halfway and turn back. But if you wanted to do to a campground, you could easily maybe position a car there or have someone meet you, if you live in the area, or if you don't, you could drop your car off. Maybe if you have two of you, take two cars. Listen, it can be worked out. You could probably even find a shuttle driver. I'm going to give you, or I should have already given you, Carl's number. And I, of course, would recommend him since I used him. And I'd like to help his business out. But there's no reason why, this couldn't be done going from campsite to campsite to campsite even. If you plan it out very well, do your research. I didn't know about this Delancy Lake campground, or Delancy Lake West, I think, campground being closed. It says it's open. Obviously, I'm not the only person that thought it was open, because two other people showed up thinking it was open. I don't know why it's closed. I'm going to ask when I get to Rodman's why it's closed. They may be doing maintenance. Maybe there was a problem there. I don't know. So one can only guess. So if I do find out, though, I'll be sure to throw that in there. The other thing is that, it's not hard to even get off the trail. Midway, there's a couple of cities. Salt Springs is a town, really. You could leave a car there, or you can get off and get picked up. So, and any of the springs, obviously, there's people coming in there with RVs, so you could get there. There are paved roads. It's not, trouble to get there. The one campground is the Hopkins Prairie. I don't know if it's a paved road all the way. I know the part that I saw was a dirt road, a hard-packed dirt road. So you could definitely get a vehicle in there. There were people with regular vehicles there. So it would be doable as well. But I don't know the road leading there, if it's a hard-packed dirt road the whole way or it's a paved road. So, but, obviously do your research. I didn't plan on staying at Delancy Lake. That's part of the reason why I didn't call them to find out if they were open or not. That was a last minute, you have to be flexible. That's one thing. Hopefully the trail, weather, everything teaches you is you must be flexible. You cannot be so rigid in your planning. You may have a start date and an end date, but, I thought the 88 store was more than it was. It really just looks like a bar. I don't even know how they stay in business. I guess they do a lot of business at night. And if they're a bar, I don't know what they're opening up at 2 o'clock for. There were a couple of people that came by while I was waiting, driving by or something, and they thought they were going to get food. I even saw our billboard for them on the way out of town at the highway that, advertises food and stuff. So I don't know how recently that restaurant closed. I'm assuming COVID may have something to do with it. It's hard to stay open when you can't stay open in a lockdown and you're losing money. But, someone, I updated gut hooks a little bit just so that people know that this place is not open and, don't come there. And I wasted an hour and a half. I'm kicking myself, because I probably would have moved on. I might have even gone a little further yesterday and try to make it to one of the other campgrounds. There's 2 deer running across. There you go, you can see them. They ran across, but I'm a little slow. I was trying to get, here's the other one. I was trying to get the camera to reverse. So they're out here. I'm talking, so I'm making noise. So, well, I'm doing that more for bear. I don't want to meet a bear. I'm hoping the bear is bed down for the night. They're more active at night usually. It's still chilly. I don't know what the temperature is. Probably 50 something, maybe 60. But definitely better than yesterday. I'm a little cold, but obviously once I started hiking, I'm warmed up. So, but as you see, we're going up a hill here. And you saw those 2 does running. Just absolutely beautiful to see them running across the field like that in the wild. A picture or even, seeing them in a pen or a zoo doesn't do justice to how they look when they're running in the wild. So that's it for now. Oh, came across my first spider in the road. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to ruin his nest, ruin his web. Oh, I think he already knows what's coming. Sorry, Mr. Spider, but I need to get by. Oh, no, he's stuck on my pole. Look at that. He doesn't want to get off. Okay. I'm not going to walk off into the brush here, but that's a sinkhole that sometimes has water in it. And you can see there is some water in there now. And it looks like there's a worn path. So I guess animals probably come here to drink and probably hikers as well. It is now, I've walked 2 miles, so I'm going to allow myself to have my bar of breakfast. Although I'm debating what my first meal is going to be when I reach civilization. I can't decide if I want a hamburger or some fried chicken. And I'm assuming this is another sinkhole. It is dry though. I imagine if it's rainy season, this probably fills up or, rain flows in here. And you might be able to get water out of here. The other spot back there where the oaks were a little bit better, I think, than the ones over here by these pines. So, well, I had my breakfast. It was an RX bar. chocolate or salted sea salt chocolate. Not quite the chicken or burger I was hoping. You know, it's weird. You know, the last couple of days I've been eating, you know, early before the sun goes down. So that's, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock. So I basically realized you're doing like intermittent fasting because, you know, all my food is put away in either in a bear bag if you're usually hiking, or in this case, I've had it in my bear canister away from my tent, and you have no food with you. So in essence, you know, you're going sometimes 13, 14, 15, in today's case, almost 16 hours, or 15 hours, I'm sorry, with no food. So that's almost like intermittent fasting. So, and you could hear your stomach, at least I hear my stomach, probably like a little, I'm sure I'm not eating enough calories either, but, you know, you lay down, you're falling asleep, and you hear your stomach, you know, growling, because I'm assuming it wants more food, or it's hungry, not because it's digesting the food you ate. And then all night long, to me at least, especially last night, I could hear it. It was really quiet in the woods. I wasn't, you know, with anyone else, so it's really quiet. And I feel like my stomach was just talking all night long, making all these noises. So I was going to wake up, actually. My thought was I'll wake up and eat breakfast right away. But true to what I usually do, I forced myself to hike a little bit, an hour or two. I had plenty of water because I lugged out 3 extra liters of water plus my 2 water bottles from the 88 store, which was nice to be able to get clean, fresh water and have to filter it. Plus it doesn't have a metallic taste to it. So I had close to, I didn't really drink anything on that hike. So I had close to probably almost 4.5 liters when I got there. Matter of fact, I filled up both my bottles again after dinner. I drank them both, filled them both up, and what I usually do in the morning, I drink out of my filter as much as I could out of that bladder, and I probably still had a liter left or so, and I just didn't want to carry it. I know I don't need it, so I actually, unfortunately, dumped it on the ground, which seems like a waste, but you know, it's going back to the environment, and I just don't want to carry it. So I have 2 full water bottles, but I also filled myself up so that I probably can make most of the hike without having to use water. You know, you got to also assume it's cooler in the morning. It's not as hot. The sun's not baking on you, so you don't need as much water, or you don't seem to need as much water. You obviously still need it. So that allows you to travel, you know, early, fast, you know, get some miles in before you have to tap into that water. I know I have enough to make it to my car. Even if I was going 10 miles, 1.5 liters is enough for me if I'm already hydrated, which was the case. So I still haven't used any water since I left, which is pretty much, you know, an hour ago, not even an hour ago, just over an hour. Or actually, I'm sorry, just under an hour. I'm coming up on, you know, an hour now. So while I've been on the trail for just under an hour, I have not used any water yet because I'm still hydrated from before I left my camp. And this way, I mean, I'm carrying it in my body, but I'm not carrying it on my back. And it's not taking up room in my pack or my water bottles. So that's a tip you should be doing. You should be hydrating yourself fully while you're at camp before you leave a water source. Anytime you come to a water source, also, that's a good technique to stretch those legs a little bit further in terms of mileage, because that's water that you don't have to carry. Sometimes you just physically don't have room for it. You don't have an extra bottle, but also sometimes you just don't want to physically carry. You know, I carried probably 6.6 pounds. You know, that's what a liter weighs, 2.2 roughly. So even if it's 6 pounds of water coming out of there, extra on my hike. But I knew I was coming to an area that is dry, you know, from my research, and that campground has no water. They do have a pond, a lake there, if you want to go get wet and get it, which I did not want to. I'd much rather take water from a tap. Not only is it easy to get, but it tastes better. Not that I have a problem. If I have to do it, I will. I'll filter my water. But if I don't have to, you know, why make work for myself if I don't have to do it? So convenience is also good. And I know that water is good. and clean. There's no risk to it. And having those, 1.4 liters of water on my back while I'm already hydrated gives me the ability to make it to my destination quite easily without having to worry about running out of water. When I get to my destination, there's water available there as well. So if I do need more, but since it's actually going to be my car, I have water already positioned in my car in case I am thirsty that I can drink as well. When I get there, I'm going to refill my water bottles and I'm going to reweigh my pack to see what it weighed when I completed. And I have the weight. When I started, I weighed it before I walked away. So I'll have an accurate measure of how much I carried when I started and how much I finished with. And I'm very, very happy with the food situation because, I always feel like I pack too much food and I try to not bring too much. I think I brought a little too many snacks. I haven't eaten really that much today and I probably won't because I'll be at my car sooner than expected. But a lot of times, I end up bringing home a lot of food and that's just extra weight that I'm carrying that I don't need. So I've tried to work to realistically drop out food. And I did take out some food from this trip. Originally, I was like 5.5 pounds or something, or 6 pounds, which is just way too much. I know that the norm is like 1.5 pounds a day, but I generally bring less than that. I don't think I eat as much, especially the first few days on the trail. You generally don't seem to eat as much as you think you're going to eat. So you generally don't need as much food for the first couple of days. Sometimes some people get a little hungrier the third and fourth day, but you're not ravenous. But you do want to eat to replace your calories, especially if you're hiking, you're doing work. I guess that's Penner Ponds on the map. I just crossed the fire road. I'm like 1.5 miles away from the reservoir. So I'm very close to exiting the forest and getting back toward civilization. It's 8:40, about 6 miles probably from where I started. Depends on the mileage you bring. My watch says 5.2, but the sign back there says 6 miles. And you can see it up ahead. There's water. You hear the birds. Feel the breeze. It's noticeably colder today. I guess maybe because of the water. But still overcast. Might even be raining a little bit, I think, here. I'm feeling some spray. I don't know if that's just the wind or if it's raining. But it's definitely colder. There's like a damp and chill in the air and it's overcast. So because of that, I've been hiking a little cold, a little cooler actually. I feel a lot of moisture coming off the water. I can feel it. Almost feels like it's raining. And you can see there's an overcast because the wind probably whipping up the water. So, because when I was, 20, 30 feet away from here, I didn't feel the water. But here you can feel water droplets hitting you constantly. So, okay, gonna keep walking. I should be coming up to the dam soon, and then crossing over, and then after that, to the campground. Still got a while to go though. It's not done yet. I guess the trail goes right along the edge of the water here. Just thought I'd give you a little view. I reached the trailhead, Rodman's reservoir trailhead. It's 478.5 on the Florida Trail. So I just got a little bit of a road walk and then I got to go across the reservoir here. So here I am coming out of the forest. I guess this is the reservoir. It's like a mile long path, or nearly a mile long path. It's quite breezy here and windy. There's definitely some rain in the distance. I don't think there's any here. I'm assuming this is where the Florida Trail goes, since here's the blazes. I don't know if you can take that path. It looks like there's a road on the side, but I'm just going to stay here. Walk along the pathway, I guess, follow the blazes. Get the traffic coming. I'll get into the grass, I guess. Oh, I gotta take down my hat here. It's trying to blow off me. It's quite windy. It's chilly. Probably should put a jacket on. Keep warm. I'm going to be walking on this for nearly a mile, so I have a feeling that it's going to get quite cold because of the breeze. But there's the view. Lake Ocala. You can see a vessel out there in the distance. But there it is. And there's the trailhead where I came from, Rodman's trailhead. I guess there's a more information thing. It looks like there's a pit toilet back over there. I think there's a marina up ahead as well. And then a little further past that will be Rodman's campground, where I have my vehicle. So it feels refreshing. I'm definitely dry now. Whatever sweat I had has evaporated in this weather. It's quite chilly actually. So, because this wind is really moving. So you can see these white caps there. You know, so they're small, they're not big, but they're still there. So you can see me. So there you go. And that's the trail. Look at the birds. They're just surfing in the wind. Right there. I don't know if you can see them. They're enjoying themselves with the breeze, I guess. But that's Lake Ocala. And right there, behind me, over my shoulder, you'll see the campground, the marina. I mean, where it's probably the spillway, the gates for the dam. So, okay, so I'm going to shut off because nobody really wants to see me walk across this whole dam. Do you? I didn't think so. And I'm going to walk ahead to the campground. It's about 1.5 miles up this road, and then I'll be at the campground where my car is. So, still got a little bit of woods, but I'll believe road walking most of the time. So this hike is almost done and behind me. Well, hello. I finished my hike. In 3 hours and 14 minutes, I went 8.92 miles, and I'm back at Rodman's campground, and you can hear the car running in the background. So obviously I made it back to the vehicle. I'm gonna hit the road now and start driving. I have about 6-7 hours of driving to my next stop. So I'll do a recap. I'm hoping to release these videos, one for each day of the hike, and maybe then a overview and maybe a gear review of some stuff that worked for me and stuff that didn't work for me. Had a good time today. Didn't see anybody hiking. I was the only person hiking. The weather was a little bit cooler and overcast, so it was nice. I actually did not use any water on my trip back here at all, interestingly enough. So, you know, all that water that I drank prior to leaving served me well, and I really had no need for getting any water, and I'm actually not even thirsty because of the cooler temperatures and the overcastness. You know, and obviously along the water here, it's kind of damp and cold. I actually put my rain jacket on to keep me warm when I was walking that like mile or so, 0.9 it is, along the roadway and then over the dam itself. So check in soon till we meet again.